We've got stops, obviously, all the way down to here and below. And so the fact that we have 45 and 40 as your two levels that won't be hit before Friday, right? Before Friday, 45 should act as strong resistance, 40 should act as strong support. So because of that, the market's not likely to go near it. This is the thing. Like at this point, I've talked about this since the 10th, 11th of December. I talked about it since that day, that it's quite likely now that Bitcoin just ranges here until the end of the month. And it's done exactly that. As we get closer to that, the incentive to push it to either side is even lower. If the market has accepted that BTC is trapped essentially before OPEX and that market makers are going to hold it there, it's not going to go to 45, not going to go to 40. If that's what's happening, which it seems to be, then before Friday, which is like just today and 2 more days, it's unlikely to move really at all. Because why would you push it to 45 if you just know it's going to reject? Right? If you know it's obviously you don't know, but if you know it's most likely going to reject off 45 before Friday, where's the incentive for anybody to buy? There isn't really any. And similarly, if you know there's rock solid support from people who want to defend their 40K calls, why would you try and sell down into that when you know it's just going to keep getting bought up? So there's no real incentive to move Bitcoin. And as long as that holds true, like that's not a fixed rule that's going to stay forever. But as long as that holds true, you've got this bowling ball, or is it bowling ball? Beach ball being held underwater. Analogy, if you hold the ball underwater and then you let go, it just blasts off. That's what's happening with Bitcoin. But it's happening both ways, right? So a lot of people will look at it and say, oh, Bitcoin's just been held and held and held and it's just ready to fucking fly, which is the most likely because of all the bullish incentive and bullish impulse that's coming and the fact that the ETF's coming and everyone's waiting on the ETF approval pump. And so everyone knows Bitcoin's going to pump on the ETF. And the question is, how well have we priced that in? Are we fully priced in? And then it's just the pump, it's just the approval pump itself, whatever. But there's also the same thing applies where we've been held up, right? Nothing is to say that all three of these lows hold. And even though Bitcoin is bullish, if we push up to the highs and everyone's starting to get long, you can see a quick flush and then we rip, right? I wouldn't be surprised on that either. Because I'm sure that as Bitcoin holds and holds and holds, and the longer it spends up here, the more people are just building positions up in this area. They're just getting long and long and long and long, thinking, yeah, it's just going to break out and give me easy money. Maybe not. Maybe it will. Maybe not. Right. So I've got my eyes on both. I'm still looking at that 200 EMA as a potential move because if we have until Friday and really nothing can happen before Friday, nothing significant, then I wouldn't be surprised if we grab that and we go down and grab that and then away we go. Just a little bit of whipsaw into the end of the week. And then January, we start off with a pump like we have done quite consistently this year, starting the months strong. And we started 2023 with a green candle that we never revisited. If you look at the yearly candle, there's no lower wick on our yearly candle. We literally pumped off the open on the 1st of January. right? 3, 2, 1. There we go. 1st of January. We had the tiniest little wick from 16.5 down to 16.5. So you have to zoom way in to even see it. And no lower wick. And we probably never go back to that price again. That truly was Bitcoin generational entries. I got a little bit at 17, so I'm happy with that. But that's truly never going to be revisited, in my opinion. Now, anything above that sure can be. I think the big question will be like 30K in future. How does 30K hold as a floor for Bitcoin? And of course, I don't think we need to worry about 17K or 30K anytime too soon. So that's Bitcoin, and with the big OPEX, I would expect it to stay pinned in that area. Now, Ethereum is starting to make a move finally, and I think this is the move now. Ethereum's ready to go. This would be where Ethereum should break out, because quite often whenever there's an OPEX end of month, end of quarter, and there's something that pins Bitcoin or holds Bitcoin back, but the market's bullish, it's the perfect time for Ethereum to run. So I'm looking at that and seeing, will it happen this time? Not sure, maybe, but we'll take a look here at the options expiry for ETH, right? Because, all right, where are we? ETH. Sorry, options. Because ETH's also a big asset and is widely traded. So ETH has a big wall of OI at 2,500, big one at 23, and quite big at 22. So there's a lot of OI at 2,200 and 2,300 for ETH, and we're stuck right between that, right? So you're looking at these two levels acting as sort of probably a pin on the market, 23 and 22. You can see how strongly it reacted of 22. So it might actually be a case that ETH doesn't move either until Friday. Maybe ETH's just going to be trapped. And so if you've got Bitcoin trapped and ETH trapped between those two levels until Friday, then alts will run like they have been running. And after that, you probably see a pullback first, and then you see ETH and Bitcoin take over. That would be my best guess. So if you look at it like if you compare, let's say, compare ETH, Bitcoin, and total 3, right? Which I'll look at here. I'll do Bitcoin, total 3. The way I would look at it is, if you're trading today, tomorrow, Friday, probably don't expect ETH to move that much. Probably don't expect Bitcoin to move that much. And probably expect alts to take over and do most of the work. So which would be like total 3, and obviously whatever alt of choice that you have. And then going towards the new year, probably some kind of shakeout, right? Because you can see now, here's ETH, right? So ETH is well below its highs, right? It has broken out from that side, but you've got 22 and 2300 acting as resistance. So until Friday, and then we have the new year, right? There's the two kind of big events. Until Friday, I wouldn't be surprised if ETH just does that, and basically the same with Bitcoin. Not much up, not much down. And at that time, alts break out. Alts here, you're seeing another strong breakout coming, because it's just tapping on this resistance. That's going to give way. So alts will probably break out and lead into that. At that point, if Bitcoin's gone sideways, ETH's gone sideways because of OPEX, and alts have made new highs, you've got a window then from Friday until New Year's where there's probably going to be a flush, a shakeout, and that's probably going to be the best dip you're going to get to buy. Because a lot of people are talking about, I see this on my timeline quite a bit. It's saying buy the first dip in January. A lot of people are saying like January 1st, like first week of January, buy the first dip. I mean, if you tried to do that at the start of this year, you never got one. If you tried to do that at the start of December, you never got one. If you tried to do that at the start of October, I don't think you got one. We've had this tendency for monthly moves on the strong coins to start on the first of the month and not come back. Some of them then give a wick back towards the entry, but they don't come to new lows. They don't give you a better entry. So what I'm looking at more is if between Friday and Monday, if this happens, Bitcoin sideways, alts lead, ETH sideways, then I'd expect some kind of shakeout on alts, right? Which would lead to obviously Bitcoin sweeping some lows, and it would lead to ETH again sweeping some local lows. And then I think just they start to run. Alts lag, Bitcoin runs, ETH runs to start the year. And alts, this is where alts really underperform, I think, the first week or two of 2024. Because it's like, and I hope you can see this quite clearly. We see what I'm doing, right? Alts lead here, and alts have been